Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Sunday afternoon. Welcome again to Bar Talk. As always, we have a fantastic panel and we have a wonderful topic today. So stay tuned right after this. Welcome back. Let's get rid of the formalities so we can get into the topic. Bar Talk is a production of Moment to Remember Studios here in Sunrise, Florida, where we do all things photo, video, and print. So if you have a passport picture or you have your next major occasion or documentary or whatever you want to do, music video, anything related to video or photo, give us a call. Don't ask us about price first. Let us hear your vision and we can change your vision to reality. And then we'll tell you what it takes to actually make that reality come to being. Bar Talk is also a production of, or is also on the platform of Jamaicans.com. Jamaicans.com is the number one stop for all things Jamaica, the Caribbean, to the world. We have people watching us from as far as Ghana, China, Japan, and of course here in Fort Lauderdale and the United States and all over the world. So listen, this evening when you text in and you watch a show, we like to know exactly where you're coming from. So just put in the text, hey, this is Cassandra from anywhere across the world, so forth. We love to hear that. Hey, listen, just before we begin, I just want to let you know that based on much requests and demand, people have been calling us, asking us, how do I see the show if I'm not on Facebook? So one of the things we've done, we just started a new channel. We just started a new YouTube channel. Probably have zero, about four subscribers like in the last month. We've been making sure that people know that they can subscribe, they can like. So it is YouTube at Bar Talk by M2R. So if you go to YouTube, just type in at Bar Talk by M2R, at Bar Talk by M2R. And we are glad to see you at all times. And just give us a like, just encourage us, let us go on. Anyway, having said all that, hey, listen, the topic of the evening is, so your other half is going mad. So your other half is going mad. And by sound of it, it looks like we're talking about somebody going crazy, so forth. But there's a lot more to this subject when we start looking at our partners. And over the years, this wonderful person who have known and have grown to love, have changed into somebody that I really don't understand. We're going to discuss it this evening. And so this evening, my guests are, first of all, my sister from another mother and my co-host this evening, Nadia Saad. Welcome, Nadia. We talked to her about 2 weeks ago, so we know exactly who Nadia is.
Yes.
Nadia, introduce yourself again.
Okay, my name is Nadia Assad, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me once again here at Bar Talk. For those who know me, to be short, I am a community servant. I do everything that have to do with community servant, from immigrations to healthcare, and here we are dealing with mental health, to you name it, any social services, resources, is Nadia Assad. I'm also into politics, and it's certainly a pleasure. It's a short one version of who Nadia is. We don't want the long bio.
Yeah, we'll skip it today.
We'll skip it to that today, but it's a pleasure to be here. I have such a pleasure to be here with my good friend, Dr. Yasmin. We worked together for the longest, and the minute that you talked to me about that particular subject, one person came to mind. I said, let me call her. Dr. Yasmin, we worked a long time in mental health. Back in 2009, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, 2009,
Yes.
BV Center for Mental Health,
Yes.
and we move along. We keep in touch. I've been following you. You've been following me.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of story behind who you are, why you particularly being here. Like we were saying the other day, we look at people that do things not seasonally but all the time, and on people that are about the community, about people. So having that said, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, why you're here, and how you becoming a therapist. I'm sure that Mr. Luke gonna be asking you about how to become the therapist that you are today, the licensed therapist.
Welcome to the
So,
show. Go ahead.
thank you very much, and I really want to appreciate this invitation. It's a great opportunity to talk about what I love the most, that is relationship, couples, and also sex. So I'm Dr. Jasmine Marimont, and I'm originally from Cuba, so you're going to listen my accent. But I have been here in US from 15 years. I studied psychology in Cuba, and here I did my master's and my clinical sexology doctorate. So I've been in the mental health field for over 10 years. My specializations are relationships and also sex therapy. So this is what I do every day of my life, and I love it. I love to see couples grow, and also see couples not to grow how I would like to, but every opportunity is for them to learn, even if they are together or even if they are not together. So I really would like to see your questions today. You know, I'm sure that the chat is open for you to ask anything that you want to know about relationships and also about sex.
So one of the things we do at Bar Talk, and you have already declared your hand that you are not Jamaican, you have no connection with Jamaica, that's correct?
Well, almost, because I am from the Caribbean too.
Yes.
I'm from the island. So there's a lot of connection there.
Well, I know a little bit about Cuba. I actually lived in Habana del Este for a little minute.
Ah, nice.
So tell me where in Cuba you originated. Were you born there? I kind of missed that just now.
Born, yeah, I was born and raised in Cuba.
Where in Cuba?
In La Habana. In Havana City.
Havana City. You know
Yes.
anything about Habana del Este?
Of course, Havana del Este is like 30 minutes from my house. Yes, very close. It's on the beach. It's the part of the beach in Havana. Yeah, very nice place.
Very nice place. I
Yes.
spent a little time there and I loved it. The topic today, though, lends itself to, like I said, so often in a relationship, people start a relationship. You meet this wonderful person, you go home, you tell this person, oh, my mom, I met this wonderful guy. He's or get this girl, fantastic person. And then afterwards, you start wondering if the person is cheating, or if there's something going on with the person. We have a tendency to start to blame the person for something.
Yeah.
Start to blame the person for something. The person must be doing this, or the person must be doing that. But so much is misunderstood between behavior and men. And you gave me, Nadia, you gave me the subtopic, behavioral or mental health.
Yes.
Because sometimes people act out because of whatever behavior they've developed. And then there are people who act out because of something else. So Doc, I'm going to start with you before I throw it back to Nadia. Dr. Yasmin, how can someone in a relationship determine is this behavioral or it's more mental? And actually, before I even go there, could you define for us, for our audience, the subtle gray area between behavioral? Because if you have a mental condition, you might be behaving a certain way.
Yes.
And so help us understand that.
Yeah. So behavior is what you see. It's the action. So in fact, the behavior is going to give you the information about what is going on in your mind. But in your mind may be going more than what you just see, because your mind have the conscious and after have the subconscious. So the behavior is just a hint of everything that is behind the behavior. And we're forgetting about the emotions. So between the behavior and the thoughts, there is the emotions. So and this happens very often in relationships, like there is an emotional reaction when you don't like something or something doesn't go with your expectation, and then the reaction of that behavior, of that emotion is the behavior. So you can have an emotion, name it, like I feel upset, frustrated, which maybe that's not everything what is going on, but then what do you do with that emotion? You put it in an action. You scream, you yell, you withdraw, you shut down, and then that causes a reaction into another person. And then that person has a behavior, which is a reaction to my reaction. And that's the dance of the relationship. Now, every partner has an emotional need. And those are the ones that the panel are not talking about. You know, like, oh, I feel frustrated because you didn't put this glass here. You put it here. But I told you to put it here.
Oh yes, I can see. Yes,
You can
yes,
see that?
yes.
So this is not really what's going on. What's going on is like, I need you to really listen to me. Because when you don't do this, I feel that I'm not important to you.
Exactly.
I'm not heard because I feel that I'm not important to you. Now, that belongs to me.
No, but stop there right there, Doc.
Yes.
Because I'm hearing all that, but that is to me a behavioral issue. It's behavioral between two people, correct? But when do we look at it as making a side turn to more mental? And how do we discover that? Because you can be in a relationship. For example, I have a friend recently who parent, mother passed away. She was a grown woman, but her mother is the person that when she's going to work in the morning, she says hi to everybody. She's coming home from work, she calls her mom. They have that very close dialogue going on. And her mom passed last year. And in most cases, we are suddenly we become the matriarch of that family. And now we start to do the things that mom used to do. So we have now taken over mom's role, and we planned the funeral, we planned the this, we planned the that. But after the passing of mom and so forth, and the little blankets that are given out, and the things at the funeral that they hand you the Bible and everything, everybody took that, and all the other folks cried, and she didn't, for the most part. But suddenly this same woman is being called into work because her works, like a year later, the work standard has dropped. Her interaction with her co-workers have gotten a little bit, it occurred, and those kind of things. And people start to label her as being, maybe it's time for her to hang up the gloves as far as her work, or need to probably retire, or so forth. And people in her household don't even realize that she was going through that at work because she didn't say it. How can we detect stuff like that? And I have other examples. How can we detect that?
Well, the person is saying something, the behavior is saying something that she's grieving.
But how do
No,
we
that's-
detect it? Because the behavior is saying something, but it's not, she goes home, she cooks, she cleans, she tends to her body else because this is what she's expected to do. But on the work side where nobody sees, for example, she's at the point where now we may have to do what is called a remedial work at work. I know once it start this remedial thing for you,
Yes.
they start watching you as to where you're going next.
Yeah.
Nadia, from your experience, because you worked with a lot of folks, including people in our Caribbean sector, how much of what I'm saying even makes sense? Am I just making this? I'm giving one example, but is this
It does.
unique?
It does.
And how does?
It's not unique. It does make sense. For example,
And
I'm
how
gonna
do you
give
find them? Yes, go ahead.
It's just observing. Because certain people, you may know them. You may see what's going on with them. From this point to this point, you can see a little change in them. And certain people, you won't be able to detect the change. One other way to find out what's going on is by talking to that person. Kind of asking questions, not directly, indirectly, depending on that person. For example, while I'm working with the kids at school, you may find out this particular kid used to do A and B, or used to pay attention in the class, suddenly sleeping, or he's right there daydreaming. You know, you can tell that there are little things that's going on. So now it's up to you to really investigate and find out what's going on. Because at times they won't tell you. They won't tell you because of pride. It's a whole lot to tell you, okay, I'm grieving or I'm feeling sad about, oh no, I'm fine. Always the answer is like, I'm okay. Are you okay? I'm okay. Then that is a clue. Because you cannot be okay after your mom passed out. You cannot be okay when you're getting beat up at home. You cannot be okay. Right. So that is a clue. You have to really be observant, pay attention to what's going on around that person, because you're gonna detect a little change of behavior, lack of attention, like you said, withdrawing. You're gonna see it, he's gonna show it. So at that time, you don't want to approach the person with the judgment, oh, you've been doing this, it's not like you, no. You try to come with example of things that happen, and then slowly guide them to the process of coming and tell you, okay, I think this is what's going on, or I'm sad about something.
Give me a second because I'm back at Nadia. So it's all nice when you're in a professional environment. For example, I was the director of operations for years at a drop back in program and kids who have serious behavioral and some of the mental health issues. And so we had counselors and we had people who could deal with that. But these are indifferent people for me. I don't have to go home to them. And so this topic is, so your other half is going mad.
Yeah.
It's easier to deal with a kid or some other co-worker because at 5 o'clock, when the song says 5 o'clock bell, the whistle blows,
That's every hour.
I can leave the person. But Nadia, in a household environment, all the things you're saying to me just now sounded fine. Great, we have to know how to reach the person, how to withdraw. But when you're in like Doc, you said, you're in an emotional relationship with that person, how do you then, because you're wondering whether or not you have your own issues and that person has their own issues. And so for example, a guy who normally comes home early and has dinner at home with you, something, suddenly now he starts to come home late and you tell he's hanging out with somebody and you start noticing his behavior trend, is interest, for example, in romance is no longer
the same.
there and so forth. And you start to think about yourself.
Oh, yes.
How do we approach that?
Well,
How do you approach it, for example?
I'm going to tell you that in a not professional setting, like I was telling you earlier about the kids at school. In my mind, in the book of Nadia Assad, page 43, all of those little things, the romance, the come home early and everything else, they're supposed to come naturally. The minute in my mind that I have to ask you, why you're not doing that anymore? Why you're not telling me that I'm pretty anymore? Why you're not going out with me anymore? Meaning that there's a lack of interest. Immediately, red flag.
And that's what I want you to say. That's a natural response. And for people out there, I'm glad you said it that way, because for people out there, they take that as meaning it's against me. How do we, you were about to say something and I think I cut you off. Go ahead, Doc.
So I want to talk a little bit more about behavior. So behavior most is you see your partner that they snap. They very low tolerance, so they become very irritable. Just coming home late, not sending as many messages as he used to send or she used to send before, not checking on you. The woman can say, no, I have a headache, not today. Not today, not tomorrow, and not after tomorrow.
Yes, after my hair.
And then, you know, something that one of my specialization is sex addiction. So you see them, the men, I'm going to mostly the men, but
slow that down because there are some people, I think you blow over that. You say 1 year specialization is?
Sex addiction.
She said it. She won her specialization, folks, for what for the work she does. Dr. Yasmin is sex addiction. So, how about ideas about that?
Many things came to your mind.
Yes, how about ideas? But so a guy like who is not normally sexually active with his wife because he just suddenly have no interest in her. Is it reasonable for a woman to then take that as being behavioral?
It is a behavior that he's projecting that energy into another place. And that place can be pornography, or can be having multiple partners, or paid sex, or just a massage with a happy end. Those are behaviors.
But listen, Doc. Sometimes, guys, I'm picking up for all of you out there who are probably saying it's work, it's well, I don't like how I feel on my job. I think I'm getting, because yes, for me, for example, what I do here, sometimes I get tired of lifting up them bags and them things and camera. I love what I do, but so forth. And sometimes your day with clients, for example, can go really, really sour. And so you come home and the last thing on your mind is somebody huffing and puffing in your face.
Yes.
And so you avoid that. How much is that necessarily? How do you differentiate? And that's what I asked from the get-go. How do you differentiate between somebody having a mental moment and somebody, like you said, channeling his or her affections and time into something else like pornography, or let's face it, another woman or man in our okay. So how can we detect that? I think that's where I was getting from.
If it becomes a pattern, a habit, like you do this every day, every time, or very often, that's a red flag. That's telling me that there is something there happening in your world that I don't know because has not been shared, and maybe that person doesn't know either because he's not fully aware of it. So anything that stimulates your brain to escape for the emotional turmoil that you're having,
Yes.
it can be stress, it can be anxiety, it can be grieving, it can be anything. That is something that it translated into a dysfunctional behavior. And a dysfunctional behavior is what doesn't allow you to be connected to that person at work, in the family, in your relationship, with your friends. So that's what it's a kind of a withdrawal. You withdraw yourself not only from the others, but you withdraw from yourself. So there is a disconnection inside yourself. And probably you are not aware that that is going on. Like the person that works 13 hours a day, arrive home, and instead of saying, I'm going to just put my phone here on the side, no. He sits and he keeps in the phone.
Yeah.
And then the wife is waiting on the bed for him to come back. But it's 3 a.m. already in the morning, 4 a.m. already in the
He's
morning.
still on that phone.
That's a big disconnection. That's a big disconnection there.
Yes. Yes.
So it's just to be mindful about if this thing is happening at the beginning of the relationship, you talk about it.
Yes.
If you don't talk about it, things are going to get worse and escalate.
Yes.
And then the wife is going to become resentment, to start to become resentment, and then to react herself to the situation. And that is just to increase the dance, the survival dance, because now you have two people that are surviving in surviving mode, which is I'm going to protect myself in order to not be hurt, to not get
Exactly.
hurt,
Yes.
and my protection is my defense.
Well, you mentioned something that makes all the difference, because I was married and in a relationship for years that had gone south for a long time. And like you said, so many people live in a surviving mode.
Yes.
That if I can get up, I can get out, from under this roof and this banner, this woman, and I can go to work, I can meet some friends, I can come back home, and if I'm lucky, I can get a meal and I can go to sleep, then I have survived that day.
Yes.
How can someone then, but the other part of that I want to ask, and I'm going to run back to Nadia. How much of, sometimes we have a way of pointing fingers. We like to, he's not doing good. Look at him, he's on his phone. Look at him, he's not interested in me. Look at me, and so,
it wasn't me.
and so your other half is going mad, but it has nothing to do, I suddenly make it feel like it has nothing to do
with you.
with me.
Yes.
How can someone discern the difference? That's something I need to introspect more than to point fingers.
Yeah. Pointing fingers is very common in relationships. That is because it's not owning the responsibility of the behavior. So if I stay in my phone for this amount of hours, I need to own that. You are right. I didn't notice it. Thank you for letting me know. And this is my escape because I feel this, I feel that. So you kind of share that with your partner. Now, but if your partner comes with a reaction, because you are always in the phone and this and that, that communication cannot be there. So both
No,
sides.
explain that last mistake. If you,
Yes.
so
if your partner comes to you and instead of telling you, hey, look, I'm noticing this lately, that you have been
the approach.
disconnected, the approach, you have been disconnected, tell me what's going on. But if you come with a different approach, if you come like a hurricane, you are going to receive the hurricane back.
Yes, yes.
or
Exactly.
or not, or you're going to receive like a turtle that goes there and hides and doesn't do anything.
Yes.
So
Wow.
both approach is very, very important for the problem. Whatever is the problem, if this person is depressed, because sometimes you have the partner that is depressed, sometimes that you have the partner that it
Well,
has
it's
we are talking
something,
about mental
yes.
health as well. You know, sometimes there is the diagnosed depression, diagnosed anxiety, and I see that very often. The partner needs to know what is depression, how depression looks like.
Exactly.
What depression looks like, a person that feels hopeless, helpless, not motivated,
Yes.
that needs to talk to himself or herself every day to wake up and to do this and to do that, that cries often, that snap very often. So to have compassion about empathy, which is
Exactly.
something very important to also
Knowing,
to
yes.
build.
Mhm.
Like how I don't know how that person feels because it's just a unique experience, but I can imagine how that person may feel.
Yeah.
And I can, with that compassion, it comes to give me a little bit more tolerance
Yes.
to accept it, because the understanding is also in accepting. But the more information you have about it, the
Yeah,
more,
the more
you
you
can
educate
you can
yourself,
you can
yes.
you can accept it.
I want to just cut away a bit because there are so many people online that I need to say hi to. We have, wow, quite a bit. Juliet Rowe, thank you for watching. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Great Sunday to you. Happy Sunday to you too. Primrose Russell, hi Primrose. We have Paulette Dawkins, Ann Phillips, Erica, Ricky Simmons are watching. A.K. Douglas, Opal Gray Clark is watching. House Bunny Roberts is watching. Loretta is watching. Dehana, as always, love to have you. Dehana says, hello folks, gorgeous day here in my neighborhood of Canada.
Nice.
Still have a bit of snow on the ground, but it will be gone soon, hopefully. Hey, listen, enjoy it because the summer is coming. Sophia is watching. Paul is watching. D. McCurr is watching. And again, as always, folks, I have a problem with names. If I can't get it right, bear with me. Ivor Morrison is watching. Rose Appleton is watching. Rosemary Houghton is watching. Joshua OWUSU. PJ, PJ alone is manning everything today. We'll say hi to PJ. Kevin Stew is off. PJ, how you pronounce that? You probably figure it out. Isilda is watching. Gordon Charlene is watching, saying hello. Folks, I'll get back to some of the names. But Erica says, or asking a question, and then let's start with you before I got to the clinical part of it. She says, can traumatic incidents such as death, workplace bullying trigger mental health problems such as bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, especially at home?
Yes.
Good question, Erica. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
very good
Your
question.
thoughts?
Yes, most definitely. Any kind of reaction, any kind of treatment that you have anywhere you are, it has an aftermath, whether you like it or not. You've seen it happen so often, especially at the school. So many kids kill themselves from being bullied from school. They call them names all the time. They get being tackled. These have effect on you, on your mental health, how you behave. You get the treatment at school, you carried it home with you. You couldn't do anything at it, with it at school. When you get home, you want to beat up your dad, you want to beat up your mom, you want to act upon your sister and your brother, because whatever happened there, you couldn't do anything about it. You're still frustrated about it. It's not out, so you carried it somewhere else. And if you don't get treated, if you don't talk about it, if you don't get it released, he become worse and worse to all of those kind of mental health, diagnoses that you just mentioned.
But here's another thing. Once you mentioned about the kids at home, I'm coming back to the topic because, believe it or not, adults get bullied at work.
Oh yes, big time.
Yeah.
Get big bullied at work.
Yes.
And you are there for that paycheck, so you probably not going to snap somebody on the nose like you do at school.
Yes, you're more
But
resilient.
yeah, you're more resilient. No, I don't know if you're resilient, Doc. You could tell me, but you're more contained. I would
Content,
think.
exactly.
But
Yes.
I guess that's what Erica is asking. Those kind of traumatic experience. So you come home with it. How do you deal with it? Anybody?
Well, dealing with it, that's the other issue.
Because
How
you have to come
approach
home
it.
to your partner now.
Exactly.
And you have to come home with your partner, with your boss being
Yeah.
This is a PG program, so
Yes.
I'm going to use, you know,
So that's what Dr.
Yeah.
Yasmin was saying. The conversation needs to happen.
the
Yeah, the
conversation.
The conversation needs to happen.
So one of the things then we understand, we can affirm from this, and Doc, correct me if I'm wrong, all right, that in relations, no matter what is happening, that conversation needs to be
Very
there.
important.
That is
That's
the
key.
is the key, but not only any conversation, because we can talk about the star and the moon. No, it's the conversation from the emotion, because you can have a very
Conversation from the
emotions,
emotion.
From the
from the
motion.
emotions.
Okay.
Yes,
How do you have a conversation from emotions?
I feel.
Okay, so you
I feel.
start with,
I feel.
I like that. You start with, I feel, and
I
therefore,
feel frustrated because today I had a very awful day at work. This person, it was like this to me, and I can't handle it anymore. And what hurt me about it, just to talk, now you're talking about the hurt, is another layer. What hurt me about it is that I don't get the validation that I think I can have because I'm doing an amazing job there. And then you have your partner that say, you know, I get you. I get you because if I were in your place, I probably would feel the same. It
and
is-
on that note, I want to apologize to one of my daughters openly, who used to call me at late nights and talk to me about her job.
Yeah.
And I remember one night was like, am I going to answer this phone, or am I just going to answer the phone and
Yes.
tell her, I'll talk to you tomorrow? But then she lives alone. So she needs somebody to,
To talk to, yes.
Right.
And so from that, partners sometimes don't even live in the same house, whether it's your significant other,
Other,
in my case,
exactly.
my daughter. And so she needed somebody to
To
talk
talk
to.
to, yes.
Because I guess, would you consider that part of mental health
It's a coping mechanism.
coping
It's a
mechanism?
mechanism,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Now, the problem with that is that it's great you were there for her as a father and you are mentally ready and prepared to be there present. But sometimes what happens in relationships is that the partner is also dealing with their own stuff. So the partner doesn't have
The
the
partners deal with what other stuff?
With their own stuff.
with all their
Their
own
own
stuff.
stuff. Own stuff.
So the
yes.
partner doesn't have the capacity to receive the emotional charge,
Charge,
you know,
yes.
Yes.
from the other partner.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the partner or shuts down, or the partner say, just get over it.
What's going on?
Yeah, because-
Just get over it.
It's bothering me with what's going on at
Yes.
work. If she only think about what I've been going through yesterday over there, man, she's tripping, man.
Or
That's it.
they say,
The
just
dismissal.
get over it. Just get
Yeah,
over it.
dismissal, there you
No,
go. Yeah.
why don't get it to get into you so much, you know? So it's a dismissive there.
Dismissal.
But what happened is that the partner doesn't know how to respond, but probably the partner is also dealing with their own things.
Yeah.
So the whole topic of that your partner is going crazy probably has to do with the fact that as a partner they're not getting the coping mechanism from you, and there's a mutuality that we have to understand that I need some I need to be use you as a means of detoxing then,
Yes.
and vice versa.
Yes.
But let's switch it to the Caribbean community, Haitian Jamaican community. We got 3-4 jobs.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How this wonderful, sophisticated thing that Doc is telling me, how in reality, how does it play out in our community?
I just tell you.
How?
I just got home now. This woman is killing me with that thing going on. Well, you didn't know that I work 2 jobs, man. I got a lot going on. Why is she bugging me with that? You know, you need to get over it, deal with it, because I am not about
Yeah,
that.
and I
So
have,
that is one.
I have told people before, yeah, man, just handle it. It's part of the job.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a very negative thing to say.
Yeah.
But what Dr. Yasmin says is I find it, from a scholarly perspective, very wonderful.
Yes.
But talking that kind of a approach, the method,
Method of it, yes.
yeah, methodology, or what, not methods, or what, yeah, I'm tongue-tying folks, pardon me, to blue collar or any other Caribbean people, for example, how does that go over well? That I need to
can
tell.
work. It
How?
can work.
How?
That person that you have to be your friend to begin with.
You ever
Nice.
seen, you have to be friends. You have to have that relationship where you can joke around about something, we can talk about everything, and I can come to her about something, and then we together can start talking about these people. I can believe that he did that to you. Man, I might go over there and then punch him. Let me know where he lives at. You know, and things like that. And sometimes that's all we need. That's all we need. Just to hear that person say, okay, even if it's, it's your fault that the thing happened, but you on my side. That's all we need to hear, that he's on my side or she is on my side. She got my back.
That you are there for me.
She got my back.
Folks, you hear that? Something very simple as that.
Yeah.
Just you be there for me. Erica, I realize, Erica, I realize I didn't answer specifically some of the things. So I'm going to turn this over to Doc. Of these things, what can traumatic incidents such as death, workplace bullying, trigger mental health disorders? So, and she's going with the disorders as schizophrenia.
Yes.
Can a workplace trauma create? I thought schizophrenia is almost from something that you inherit. Is she's asking if that can be done? I know the depression. But that's to become schizophrenic, because I know the anxiety. I used to have anxiety, but my last job before I decided to just do what I do, and I'm loving it. I've taught kids. I love the kids a lot, and so forth. I couldn't deal with the admin nor the parents of some of the kids. I had a beautiful relationship with the kids, but the drama and the politics between the admin and so forth. I used to be on the phone with another friend of mine who had the same position in West Palm Beach, and we used to talk each while we were going down. And soon as I turn off the highway to get to the parochial road to get to the school, this is something that came over me, and I know that was anxiety. But something like schizophrenia, how could workplace trauma affect you that way?
Workplace trauma doesn't really always has to trigger a mental health disorder. Probably that mental health disorder was already there. Like schizophrenia, yes, it has a genetic component, but usually it triggers around 18, like teenagers, 18, 19, 20 years old. Bipolar disorder, a different type of bipolar disorder, is another disorder that doesn't get triggered by only one cause, but it has a multiple cause, biological, social, the interaction between both. The most common mental health disorder that gets triggered is anxiety.
At work. The work, anxiety.
Anxiety and depression, because anxiety and stress and anxiety, the stress is the reaction to a situation. That's what stress means. And the anxiety is your brain in survival mode. No, and all the different.
If I go to work at all time and my brain is in survival mode, is it time for me to quit?
You can quit. That's an option. That's an option. You can change job. You can decrease the expectations that you have a job about yourself.
Yes.
And adjust. So do some adjustment there.
Exactly.
Or it depends on your goals. It depends on what you want for your life. How do you want to see yourself in your workplace? Or as you said, some communities, or some of us, we have 2, 3, 4 jobs. How do you manage that?
Exactly.
Where do you see where is your limit, your capacity, and what is that you value the most? You have 3 jobs because you have to make this amount of money. You have 3 jobs because you really resonate with what you are doing. And here I'm teaching, I'm here, I'm seeing my clients, I'm here, I am doing voluntary work, and I love the thing, and I have my balance. Or I cannot have that balance, and then where is my family here? So how much energy do I dedicate to each of them, and my family, and my partner, and my kids? It's 30% here, 30% here, 80% here. So it's very important to be mindful about it.
Yeah. That's your health right there.
Wow. One of the things you mentioned, and I laugh because that's so much, I wanted to keep it for this moment. Okay. The fact that how much, just if you can think about the statistics, how much does sexual health, and put it in a nice little package, in a relation has made or destroyed relations? So how much, let me put it this way, how much sexual health has and folks, she is the therapist for that. So,
I'm the
just in case,
therapist.
you know,
I'm
you're
the
watching,
therapist.
Dr. Yasmin, that's one of the things that she has to deal with. How much of a percentage you think in relationships or anxiety in relationships and disconnected relationships are based on sexual issues?
I would say like more than 80%.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
Yes.
Hold on, Doc.
More than 80%.
Hold on,
Yes.
Doc.
Yes.
There's so many other things that can affect a relationship. You're saying a relationship. Is it cultural or is just a global thing that?
It's a global thing when you dismiss the sexual intimacy in your relationship. For a lot of people, it's like dismissing the relationship as a whole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow, that is kind of sinking in my head just now. 80%.
For at least the people that I see. I mean, they come to me because these couples, they have sexual intimacy problems. Some of them, they have a perfect, beautiful emotional connection, but they are missing the sexual part. Maybe because of the stress, the anxiety, the kids, the pregnancy, the many reasons. So maybe a very common reason is like priority. So because I'm in survival mode, I'm going to prioritize my work, the kids, I'm going to wake up in the morning to do this, but where is my sexual life? It's there, in the list,
Yes.
and sometimes it's not even in the list.
Yeah.
Not even in the list. You want to go sleep or wake up tomorrow to go
That's
do the
it.
job.
That's it.
You're
You
tired,
gotta wake
exactly.
me up
You're
trying
tired, you want
get
to go
me
to sleep.
Yes, yeah.
That's it.
But sexual intimacy creates oxytocin in your brain. The oxytocin is the hormone that bonds in the relationship.
Could you repeat that for me? So that folks, if you're listening, you can hear. We're giving you good stuff right now.
Good stuff.
Yes,
Oxytocin is the hormone in your brain that creates the bond between two people. So you have a high stress, if you're very stressed because of things that are going on in your life, you interact with your partner, you cuddling, you get affection, physical connection, you have an orgasm or not necessarily, your brain is releasing the oxytocin. So your stress level is going like this.
Yeah.
And then you feel more relaxed when you finish that.
Yes.
So that's why sexual intimacy is wonderful. It's a way of communication as well for a lot of relationship.
Exactly. Yes.
It's an intimate moment where you are vulnerable. It's not sex, it's sexual intimacy. It's not
There's a
only
difference.
sex.
So, okay, big difference then. Sexual intimacy as opposed, because for men especially, guys, I'm gonna throw you under the bus. So guys, sexual intimacy, it has to do with the mechanics of sex. Everything else is gone through the road. And I think, if you correct me if I'm wrong, Doc, that part of that is part of the problem because, especially for a woman who she's stressed at work and she
Yes.
got some witches at work
Yes.
driving her crazy, and then she comes home and this man is not showing her any
And yes.
emotional affection. All he
Yes.
wants to do is to get the mechanics on.
Yes.
I remember one lady used to complain and talk about church group as a way of getting out of hand because this was supposed to be a secret among ladies in church group. And so those guys heard about it at that. And one of the big problems these ladies have was it's the slam bam thank you mom thing where
yes.
they just come in and the woman comes in, she needs a little affection, the dirty dishes in the sink, everything else to be done. The kids are running around the place like crazy, and she comes in and he's smiling and he's ready to go to the bedroom, and
Yes.
she's
Yeah.
like, forget it.
Yes.
And so now I can see where that, if that's not attended to, right?
Yes.
That would create where we talk about, no, your partner is going mad because suddenly your partner decided, heck, I've had enough of this.
Exactly.
I don't
Reaction.
want the other.
A reaction
Reaction
to
to
what
it.
yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
So
And to back up, Jasmine, what you were saying earlier about the percentile of yes, sex is like 80%. You know, the issue. Like back in my country, like for example, or even here, any young kids that have a little relationship with a young girl, now you're my boyfriend, right, girlfriend? So prove it.
Wow.
Prove it. So prove it. We have
Prove
to
it.
have sex. We have to
Yeah.
have that
And
connection.
so
Or kiss me. You know that's the bound to say yes.
the
This is it.
pressure.
There we go.
Yes,
you know.
But that's an important point, because now we're talking about teenagers starting a relationship.
Yeah.
And if you feel the pressure to have sex, even let's say
That's
for the
another
first
stuff.
time,
Exactly.
that's not also healthy, because that creates like a conflict. I'm not ready, I'm not ready,
Yes.
I'm doing this because I really want to do it, I'm doing this
Exactly.
because if I don't do it, my boyfriend is going to leave me.
Exactly.
So that's not a good reason to have sex, for even for the first time. A good reason to have sex is because you want it, you desire, and you want to create that bond with your partner. And then you, hopefully, that person can have the education from parents in how to have that interaction there.
Yes.
So something that is very common is that because the sexual response in men and women is different. The woman, they're more context dependent. So a woman needs emotional context. You know, if you have the men that say, I'm here for you, I'm here to support you, let me wash the dishes for you tonight, don't worry, I'm going to put the kids at bed, let's going to have a date night, let's going to have to sit here and have a glass of wine. That is the context. So the woman, she can feel that she's seen. A woman, listen, man, a woman just want to be seen.
Listen,
I want to repeat that.
Guys probably know that, but you need to hear it from the expert
From the doctor.
Doc. Tell them again, Doc. Look,
It's very simple. A woman want to be seen. That's
in context.
Yes.
In context. That's it.
Not just isolate. I'm going to turn it back over, but just not isolated, like going to back in the Caribbean, you see a rooster running down a hen, and all you want to do is to jump on and jump off. Back to you.
Yeah. So be mindful about it. Try to put yourself in the woman position, and I know that it's not natural. You know, you're not thinking about that natural, and that is okay, because men, they have a different structure here. They're very genetic, they're very visual, and also culturally, they were raised in a different way, right?
Yes.
Men, the society has provided a lot of permission to men. You can do, you can do, you can sing, you can.
Yes.
The woman, no. The woman is you cannot do, you cannot expose, you cannot touch, you cannot do all these things.
Yes.
So even from the cultural perspective, there's a lot of differences. So if you take that perspective into your relationship, okay, what is important for my partner that I do?
Yes.
And I'm going to get at the end what I want. You're going to get at the end what you want.
That's right. That's right. One way or the other.
One way or the other.
Right.
But you need to go smart about it. Be smart about it.
There you
Exactly.
go.
So, Doc, as we run into a couple minutes before 6 o'clock, how do we, so that we don't think our partners are going mad, what are some of the things that you would suggest to people right now that they do? And the thing about it, partner, they don't have to be living in the same household, correct? Wrong or right? Right? They don't have to be living in the same, but
They
it's
don't
your
have.
partner, whether you're under the same roof or you have visitation rights or anything. What would be your approach to them if you think, okay, this man or this woman, but this is a person I love and we were fine. What would be your approach? What would you, if you could give somebody a method of approaching that, what would it be?
Yes. First, patience. Patience is very important, and be willing to listen, be willing to talk. After you feel that, you say, okay, let's go into check-in, because I see that you're a little bit upset, you're getting upset every time that I talk to you about this, or any behavior that you see that is not a normal, what we call normal, a habituated behavior. And you take the time and you sit. Okay, so talk to me about what's going on there in your mind, in your world. What is there? Just as it is. You don't put words on that. You just listen to your active listening is, I hear you say that today this happened and you felt this way. Is that what you felt? Yes, or almost. Because I also felt this and this came to my mind. So you talk about it. Men have the tendency to fix. Okay, that's another thing. You don't have to fix. You don't have to fix. I know that you're going to feel the urge to fix. That's okay to acknowledge what you're feeling, but then to fix is to listen. To fix is to go into the process. I always say that fixing is not the result, but fixing is the process of the communication. And just be vulnerable, like be there for that. So the person that talks has to be very honest and say what is really is there. You know, that what I said before from the emotion. The person that listens has to repeat, like, I hear you say, and I get you, and I can imagine. That's it for the communication.
I like what you said about that, because if she comes home upset and I want to fix, I go in the same mode automatically. How can I make her better?
Yes.
And maybe we can't make someone better. Maybe the very things we're trying to do is probably going to make more anxiety. But you're saying first things first.
Yes. Conversation.
Conversation.
Yeah. Honest conversation.
But it means that we have to have two quote unquote sober people then in a relation to make that happen.
Yes.
Yes.
So in other words, you can't have a relationship, if I understand it, with two people who are experiencing the same thing at the same time.
You can
How
take-
do we deal with that?
So you need to take a break. Sometimes you have to take time out, what I call the time outs. You need to say, you know what, right now my brain is in fire. I cannot talk, I cannot express myself. I'm going to remove
Yeah.
myself from the
Step
situation.
back.
Just step back and say, give me 30 minutes, give me 1 hour, give me 3 hours. So I can't use my own resources, because you cannot rely always 100% on your partner to take all what you feel or to fix you or to rescue you. Okay, so you have to develop your own coping mechanism to retire yourself from whatever you're feeling, and to use your resources, and then to be able to come back and to talk about it with your partner.
And for the ladies, what I will say, it's always good to try new things. For example, like I was telling to a friend the other day, and I thought he was Mr. Luke. Change your perfume.
Yes, you did say that.
Change your hair color. Change your hairstyle. Your wardrobe. Change something.
But
You
let
know?
me stop you right there. But Caribbean women will tell me, he has to love me the way I am. I'm not changing myself to feel the what.
It's not about that. When he met you, you were all of that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So the first look that he has, that's what makes him go after you. He went after you all the time because of what he saw in the first place. So you want to keep him. It's not something that easy, but at times it just takes just a little twist to, sparkle back the fire.
Yeah, but with their two schools of thought. Somebody would say, yeah, but everybody know that we change. We get old, we change.
Oh,
and
yes,
so,
we do.
And so
We
with
do.
all kind of thing. But then you have a lady who you come home every 5 days a week and she's wearing the same pajama outfit around the place, dragging around the place. You're saying that in itself can throw off
Oh,
somebody.
yes, that will. The men will be looking for another lady that looks more appealing, because remember, what he saw, he went after and conquer, is not what he has when he get home. So don't blame him if you see him going after the one with the long hair and everything else that he doesn't have there. That doesn't mean that he's not gonna go anyway. Do you understand? But at least you have the peace of mind that you had tried your part, right?
Yeah.
You have tried your part. That's one of the first steps to find out if he gone mad, or if it's mental health, or if the love is just gone.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
have to, try to do things differently. Even in the bedroom, ladies, do things differently.
Be adventurous, curious.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, you got to. The men also. It's both ways. If you used to use the bed, that's going off first conversation. You try the coffee table, see if it's solid enough. No, it has to be, because the monitoring, every day the same
monotony.
thing, they get bored. You have to change the dynamics of things. He used to go out to the movies watching. Okay, now he doesn't like scary movie. I like scary movie. He's gonna make a concession. Let me go ahead and watch it just because of you.
Yes.
Not that you have to change your way of who you were exactly, but at least you make the sacrifices, and
Yeah, that's very important.
they will notice the sacrifice that each other. They will say, okay, he made that for me, so I can do that. It's about compromising, changes, fire it back.
Do not take the relationship for granted,
There you
because
go.
that's very easy, and it happens very naturally.
Yeah.
Like you forget about
You
your
feel
relationship.
comfortable.
You feel comfortable, and that's it. I have it. No, there is no boundary, so I can scream, I can
Exactly.
yell, I can disrespect, I can call names, and everything is going to be fine.
Yeah.
And it really no.
How much? You said that, and that goes a long way. How much you think that people get into a relationship and now have a guy, I have the girl, I'm good, I'm ready to go. How much of that you think is going on in a lot of relationships, in just generally speaking?
It's very common.
Very common.
Very, very, very common. And then what happens is that resentment starts to bubble up.
Because it becomes too normal.
Yeah.
How much does family interference? Because there's some relationships that family can't get in.
Yeah.
And there are relationships where the partner will tell you, no matter what, my son or my daughter, or God forbid if that person is living in the house, comes first. In those relationships, how do you deal with the dynamics of that? Because the man is going bad because they don't want to come home, but
Yeah.
you have your son, your daughter, or some in-law, worse to the in-laws, living in the house, whether it's from the man's side or from the woman's side, and mama tell you, no matter what, my child comes first, or my cousin's child, or whoever comes. How do you deal with those dynamics then?
I see it very often on the part of the men. Like the mom's, the man's mother comes inside the relationship and says something like, "Oh, you have too much food in the fridge," or you have put too much food,
Yes.
or this is what you're eating today. Like this kind of comments, and so there is an intrusion in the dynamic of the relationship, and with the kids also happens. Solution: boundaries. But the boundaries need to be done like, Mom, this is your space, this is my space with my family. Your family is the family that you create after you have your family of origin right there. And there is a boundary, there is a river there to cross.
Right.
So what if you're living like with a grown child in a household with a partner? How do you set, and whether it's a male, whether it's the child of the husband or the child of the, and that child is a grown person in the household or any other grown person from one relation to the other, how do you maintain those boundaries without people feeling emotional about it? Because that will make anybody go crazy.
You cannot be responsible for the other person's reaction or emotions. You cannot, because then that creates codependency. Okay, no, I cannot say that to my mom because she's going to feel this way, this way, this way. But then the mom comes with all the energy and come back again and say, no, you have to come you have to do this to me. No, Mom, but look, I want to have this space with my partner. We plan to go to the movie today. No, how are you going to go to a movie? She's more important than just setting on my video. Like things like that. So, and I we need to understand that probably these moms are coming from a place of loneliness, of loneliness. Okay, this is an emotional
You
needs
take
as
away
well.
my child.
Yes.
And also, you're taking away my child.
Yes.
Exactly. And also, you have the narcissistic moms that they come also with their own personality. But that's another story. That is part of the same story. But it's important just to all the time to reinforce and to maintain the
Yes.
boundaries. And sometimes, unfortunately, a separation needs to happen
Yeah.
for that family to
be happy.
be happy.
Yes.
So in other words, separate mom needs to know her space and when to go or when to step aside and be quiet.
Yes.
And or if there's another kid in the household,
Yes.
that kid needs to know, or kids need to know, well, you may be a grown child in this household.
Yeah.
You may be, your father, your mom may be the person up in a relationship with another person. But
This right there is my life.
this is still a relationship,
exactly.
and you are a different relationship in
Yeah.
it.
A different
They have to
relationship.
understand that you have to learn. I teach my children as a single mom, the younger age, just like you like video games, that makes you happy, right? You like this, that makes you happy. Mommy likes to go to the movie, that's what makes mommy happy. Mommy likes to do this, that's what makes mommy happy. You have your best friend right here, Bestie, you on the phone with Bestie 24/7, that makes you happy. He makes me happy. Do you want mommy to be happy? And that's it. You have to teach them that the same thing that you have, the right that you have to be happy, the things that you need to make you happy, they are not different from what mommy needs to be happy. So therefore, they need to respect that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Folks, we are already at the close of this show. Doc, how can we reach you?
So I have my Instagram, Dr. Jasmine Marimon. My phone number, also I can give my phone number.
Yes, please do.
It's 786-229-6947. And but Instagram, you can go there, you can follow me, you can send me messages with any question that you may have, and I'll be very happy to assist you.
What's your areas of specialty, just in case there's somebody listening out there who wants to connect with you?
Relationships, sex therapy, addiction, and trauma.
Relationships, sex
Sex
therapy,
addiction,
addiction, and trauma.
and trauma.
Okay.
So when
and
you say addiction, are you talking about sex addiction only or drug
Substance,
addiction?
yes.
So
Dru-
substance
Oh,
abuse.
yes.
substance, okay.
Substance abuse, sex addiction, that's my other specialty. But substance abuse and addiction, games, sex, anything. Addiction is a process.
It's
Yes.
a okay,
It's a
got you.
process
Yes.
in general. After anything can activate that process.
Yes.
Again, how we can reach you, give us a phone number because that might be the number that they can reach you by most.
Just 786-229-6947. Also, there is my website, ympsychotherapymiami.com, or my Instagram is the easiest way, Dr. Jasmine Marimon.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And my co-host, thank you so much for being here today. I know all your information, but please tell it to the folks.
My name again is Nadia Assad. It was such a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all your questions. The phone number is 954-305-7262. I am certified in mental health heart therapy. I am also certified in mental health ambassador and cognitive behavioral health practitioner. So you can also reach me if you have any question. I cannot diagnose like Dr. Yasmin, but I can certainly listen to you, talk to you, and point
then
you out to
send-
Yasmin and send you where you need to go, and show you which color to wear when you're gonna go to that bedroom tomorrow night.
Oh, I love that. Folks, it's been my absolute pleasure having our panelists and having you here on this show. You heard from our guests. It's not a simple situation,
Yes.
but it's a approachable situation, and there can be a solution to the situation. Somebody in the household, if you think that's your other half is going mad, it therefore probably means that you're the sober one, and you are the one who may need to do the introspection and may need to find a reasonable approach, or like they said, if you can't do it right now, take a time out, but you just can't leave it by itself. Because that person who you think is going mad may just need your help. Once again, it's been my pleasing pleasure. We'll see you next week. And as always, once again, we are taking quite a bit of these shows to YouTube. We've just started it. So we're going to ask you to just simply go on YouTube, and it's at Bar Talk by M2R. M2R means moment to remember. At Bar Talk by M2R. Just give it a like, and we're going to migrate a lot of these shows onto the site, so you have one place where you can find all these amazing shows. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being the best part of the show. Once again, thank Dr. Yasmin.
Thank you very much.
And my sister Nadia for being here. And we'll see you next week. God bless.